nobody teaches you how to think for yourself.
So we're starting the conversations.
So welcome to Think Out Loud. I am Taspina, and this is a space where I sit down with people who think differently about careers, growth, and life, and we just talk honestly and openly. Today, I have someone I'm really excited to introduce to you. He spent years in the consulting world, and now he's on the other side, working directly with students at one of Lebanon's leading universities, helping them navigate one of the most important decisions of their lives. Mr. Zouhair Sawma, welcome. I'm really happy to have you here and have this discussion with you.
Thank you, Taspina, for receiving me.
Of course. Now, before we get into everything, I'd love for the people watching us to get to know you a little bit. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey? I know you were in consulting and now you're working directly with students. How did that past unfold for you?
Okay, so let me start saying quickly that I started my career as a management consultant, and I spent more than 16 years in this field before switching to career services and teaching. So why I did the shift? Because I think thanks to consulting, I'm able today to help students navigate their career path, understand better the different markets, the different companies, the dynamics of the job markets. And I help them also in their personal branding, in their CV, cover letter, in their way of approaching their career planning. So consulting was really very helpful for me to do this shift. And today I'm the director of the Career Center at USEK. And voila, this is me in 2 words.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself. So basically, now as the director of the Career Center of USEK, can you tell us exactly what is it that you help students do exactly?
Okay. So at the Career Center of USEK, we help students mainly prepare for their career. How? So first thing, we help them craft their CVs, their cover letter, their LinkedIn profile, to build their pitch, to train on interview questions. Second, we help them explore the market, the industries, the trends, the challenges, the application processes, and to discover themselves, their interests, their ambition, their values, maybe their weakness as well. And third, we help them connect with the companies or with professionals within the same field so that they have enough insights about potential roles, potential roles they can play in companies so that they are prepared ahead of any new job they undertake.
Okay. And what do you think is now the most common question or inquiry that you receive from students who come to your office very frequently?
Okay, so if I want to be a bit funny, I would say, please tell me which job is very easy or where I can find the most flexibility, etc. So this is the funny part of my answer, but let me be serious and say the most common question for students is if this career choice will allow me later to switch to another industry. So for them today, for young students, it's very important for a role to help them switch to another one across industries because they don't want to be like for their whole life in one position, in one company, in one role. So they want to diversify their experiences. And they always ask me if this role can help them do or achieve this transition.
Okay. And basically, I see this a lot as well, because we interact a lot with students and young people who are genuinely lost about their career. Not because they're not smart or they're not working hard, but mainly because they don't know where to start thinking or how to think properly about what do they exactly want, what is the career that best suits them. And in your role, so if I want to ask you directly, being so close to students every day, how do you think you could be of help to them? What is the first thing that you could tell them in order for them to understand how to navigate all of this specific thoughts in their head?
Okay, let me start upstream. So I would say first, don't go with the family pressure.
Okay.
Second, I would say don't copy others. Don't do the same thing that others are doing. Not because Despina wants to get into consulting that you're a good candidate for this field as well. Third, I would say don't start late. Don't wake up late and say, hey, I just graduated, I want a job. So getting a job is something you prepare from the first week at university. Fourth, I would say don't just focus on the role itself or the salary itself or the company name itself. So try the most you can to identify different, I call them the five tests, if you want. So the first test would be the growth. So does this role allow me to grow in the company, to develop my skills? Second, the pay. So does this role reflect my my skills and my real value? Okay. A third, the manager test. So the manager who will be supervising me during my time in this company, is he or she good enough to allow me learn something new, to empower me, etc.? For the culture. So does this company represent a cultural fit? So, or not with me? And finally, fifth thing, I would say the exit test. So the exit test. So once I started this job, and after 2, 3, or 4 years, I decided to step out and do something else. Does this role allow me to explore other things? Allow me to transit into new industries? Yes or no? So this is what I call the 5 tests. So if students can check them, ideally, okay. So this will really help them make a decision.
Okay. So now if we look at these 5 tests that you mentioned, these are tests that would help them understand what is the best career path that they should be choosing. Now, if we're talking to students who are just graduating from school and they want to pick their major, do you think there are some kind of tests that they could do in order for them to know what major specifically they should be choosing?
Okay. The best test would be to go and talk to professionals.
Okay.
So for people who are junior in their roles, they have up to 2 or 3 years of experience. For people more senior with 5 or 7 years of experience, and with executives with more than 10 years of experience, because those professionals will give them real insights, what to expect on the job, what are the trends, what are the challenges, what skills are needed, and what are the possibilities to grow within this field or that one. So I think the best test would be to go ask professionals, like I just said, but also a second category of people they can ask is the students, their second year or third year in the same major, because they will give them updates about the classes, the courses, the level of difficulty, the project, and maybe the internships they might apply for, etc. So those 2 categories of people, the professionals and the students in the same major, will guide them in the best way. And this is also the advice I give to my students at USEK.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I did that when I first started. I mean, I was super lost on which career to choose, and then which major to choose first, and then which career to dive into. And then I tried as much as I can to do my research, but at the same time, reach out to people who are already in the industry in order to get some insights directly from these people, because I think it's super important to know what to expect once you're there. So I think these are super important insights that students should be doing. And I'm sure that now most of the universities or schools as well, they are trying to facilitate all of these through career fairs, workshops, and all of these specific tools that they provide. Now, another question that popped in my mind is basically, because this is something that I've experienced as well, because you study at university, but then at the same time, when you get into the job market, you realize that there is some sort of gaps, lots of gaps actually, meaning that there are some specific skills that are needed in the universities to be taught for the people to make them ready to some extent to the job market. Do you think these gaps are now being addressed by these universities? And if they are addressed, how are we addressing them?
Yeah. So let me start saying that students should bear in mind that education, their diploma, is the starting point and not the finish line. So this is the first 100%. Thing to bear in mind. What do I mean by this? I mean that students should pay attention to all the emerging trends and ask themselves, so what skills are becoming more and more valuable across industries? So this is something important for them to understand. So, and second thing to understand is that the degree itself is not enough, is no longer the full package, let's say. So what's important today is to complement their degree by internships, projects, certification, networking opportunities, maybe also skills development, upskilling, or technical skills, etc. Now, to reply to your questions in a more, let's say, professional way, I would say that today universities are bridging the gap between academics and the job market by listening to companies what they want. Every year or every 2 years, each program will sit with a batch of companies, professionals from those companies, and to exchange on the different courses offered, on the different projects required from students, and what is required from the market today, so that we're trying to bring together closer and closer the academics and the job market. And this is what we're doing at USEK today in order for students to be ready once on the job.
I totally agree. And I think this is something that is super important, because I just realized not so long ago that your diploma is not everything that you need in order to be well equipped for the job market or your career. So you need to upskill yourself. You need to learn so many different skills. Now, if you are to tell me now, what are the 3, for example, top skills that students should be learning outside of their courses specifically, or their curriculum within their major? What are these skills that you think are super important in our day and age now?
Okay, so I would say that beyond technical skills that are required in each field, in each discipline, like in finance or engineering, etc., you have technical skills you have to master. I would say today students should learn how to pitch, meaning pitch a project, pitch an idea, maybe pitch for a scholarship, maybe pitch for a job in an interview. So this is so important, how to tell the others about themselves, about an idea, in few seconds, in 1 minute, in a compelling, concise, sharp way, so that the other party would say, oof, interesting, let me dig deeper. Do you have time? I want to have a discussion with you. So pitching is so important at this stage in different situations, like I just said. This is first. A second thing is to be proactive. So once on the job, today, companies are requiring from students to be more and more proactive, to anticipate any issue, okay, so that they can be more efficient. And third thing I would add, companies today, they need from students to be, agile learner. Voila. So meaning to quickly learn new applications, new technologies, and to implement them in the company. So those would be the 3 main skills students should focus on today beyond their technical skills.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with all of the 3. And I think in all of the 3 comes as well an underlying skill that is communicating well.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
This is something that's absolutely super important in every career, despite which major you choose to delve into.
Let me add something here about communication. So for me, pitching is about communication, but what you said is very interesting. And let me add something by saying that today's students, they have to learn how to explain complex things in simple ways. And this is the right communication. Whenever you're facing a client, wherever you're facing your manager, wherever you're facing a shareholder, etc., how to explain complicated, complex, technical things in a simple manner, convincing manner. And this is the key for good communication.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, one thing, aside from the soft skills that we discussed together, as well the technical skills that are depending on each major that you pick in the university. Now, I know that there are so many myths going on around students. So many say, for example, that engineering is the best choice. Engineering is, for example, the better certificate. Maybe business is where you go, for example, in order to do something wherever you're not sure of. Probably people who know themselves that they like the healthcare industry, they just go directly into being, for example, in the medical school or whatsoever. But if we are to dismantle all of these myths, all of them, about which degree is the best degree, because I know that there's no such thing as a better degree than another one. what are your thoughts generally about these myths going around in the heads of the students?
Okay, this is a tough question, but
Yeah, I
let
know.
let me start saying that whatever you choose, okay, don't think that this path means closing every other door. Okay, so just you have to keep this in mind that even if you choose, or let's say your first decision doesn't determine your entire career path. And this is my case, for example. If we have time, I can share this with you, but
Yeah,
don't
of course,
think
go.
that. Well, so because I think that progress often comes through exploration rather than certainty. Anyway,
Yeah.
so to reply to your question in a more diplomatic way, I would say that students who have the capacities today to follow courses in math, in physics, in chemistry, etc., all the scientific material, I would encourage them to follow engineering major. Okay.
Okay.
Why? So, because once you have a degree in engineering, this will open the door to you to finance. It will open the door to you to healthcare. It will open the door to you to logistics, developers. I mean, software developers, web developers, or electric, civil engineering, etc. So it will broaden your choices. It will expand your chances to get a job. Whether if you go and limit yourself into one specific area in business, for example, unless you're pretty sure that this is what you want and you already know where to go, where to apply, it would be a bit limiting yourself at the end of the day. Okay, so I always encourage students who have the capacities to follow engineering degree to start with it, and then to maybe later on do an MBA to learn the basics of management, finance, how to lead people, how to plan, how to put in place a budget, etc. But this would be the small advice I give to students, even though this won't make a lot of people happy. Okay, but this is the truth today. This is what I can say based on my experience in Lebanon and abroad.
Yeah. I actually agree, because basically the way I thought before joining mechanical engineering and before choosing this major was basically that I didn't want to limit myself into any specific area. And because I was good in math and physics, this is how I chose the major specifically, because I didn't have much clarity on what is it that I wanted. And I didn't want to limit myself into one specific category. And I had the capacity back then to be able to do these courses that are very scientifically driven. That's why I picked this major. And it turns out to be a major that definitely helped me widen my choices back when I
You're
wanted.
validating what I said.
Yeah, 100%.
So let me give you an example. Think of it like you're at the airport, okay, and you don't know your final destination. All what you have to do is pick a flight to take you somewhere, and once you arrive, you will start exploring, collecting information, connecting with people, understanding better things, okay? And those things, you would not be able to see them at the gate, okay, at the departure gate. So this is why I always tell my students to start even if they are not ready, even if things are not clear. But take this flight, land somewhere, start discovering, exploring, networking, understanding better the required skills, the challenges, the trends, and making good connections so that you'll quickly understand things, adapt, and this will let you open doors. So don't wait until everything is set. Well, this is the example I wanted to share with you.
Yeah, I totally agree. And by the way, you mentioned something that progress comes through exploration during our conversation. So it's 100% true, and it validates as well the example that you've given. So thank you so much for elaborating more on this. Now, one question that I'd like to ask you is, given as though in your role you're super close to students and you give them some specific career advice and you try to help them in any way possible. Now, if I am to ask you now, what is the best piece of career advice that you've ever received? What would that be?
Oh, good question. Piece of advice I already received. Wow. So the piece of advice would be to be curious. I think
Okay.
I had a manager back in 2008, 2009. He was super helpful and very inspiring. And he told me, be curious, ask questions, connect with people, learn something new. And this is the way to explore, to understand, and to be able to make good choices. So voila, this is the piece of advice I received like more than 16 years ago today. And it was hidden somewhere in my mind. And now you asked me about it, and here you go. I can remember it. So be curious, guys. And this is something also I can tell students to adopt.
Of course. Thank you so much. That's actually a very helpful advice for us too, because I think that the moment you stop being curious, you stop questioning things around you become a bit stuck at some point. So you need to constantly ask questions. You need to constantly go and, for example, explore so many different opportunities, explore different teams, explore different industries, try to make your way into different, if you want, maybe workshops, student clubs, all of these specific things that would allow you to expand a bit on whatever knowledge you have. Because every specific interaction that you're going to do with anybody is going to definitely enlarge a bit more your areas of opportunities, the way you approach things, the way you communicate, the way you put yourself out there. So that's definitely a very helpful career advice. And now, if you are now to give a career advice to anyone watching this specific episode, what would you tell them? Given as though they are just starting university or graduating.
Okay, so I'll tell them two things.
Okay.
The first thing is once on the job, don't stop exploring. This is the first thing. Because a lot of people, once they are hired, they stop exploring new potential roles, new ideas of companies, new projects, etc. So this is the first thing. Never stop exploring once on the job. And second thing, network most you can. Network with alumni, network with your professors, network with your colleagues, network with your managers, network with people in companies which are competitors to yours. Go to conferences, attend webinars, go to forums, and network the most you can, because today, if you don't have a good or let's say connections, it's very tough for you to grow. It's very tough for you to bring a client. It's very tough for you to bring a good provider. It's very tough for you to plan your career as well. Because, let me tell you something important here, and most students don't know about it maybe. Whenever they want to apply for a job, they go on LinkedIn and simply click on easy apply, and they think this is the way to go. But 80% of the jobs are in the hidden market, are in the hidden job market. And in order to unlock this hidden job market, you have to network. So this is why I always push my students to network. And like I started saying, never stop exploring once on the job.
Thank you. Now, I do have two main questions that I would like to close by. So what is the difference between a student who figures it out and one who stays stuck? Is it intelligence, work ethics, or something else entirely?
So I would say it's a combination. It's a combination of preparation, of networking, of research, of ambition, and of course, market opportunities. So what's luck? So here, and we get into something more philosophical, it's about luck. So luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? So this is why you gotta prepare, and you gotta look for an opportunity so that whenever they match, you're lucky, and here you go, you land the job.
I totally agree with you. Now, I just want to close by one specific question, that if every student now watched this conversation today, what's the one thing that you'd want them to walk away believing about themselves?
I will tell them that today careers are not linear anymore. Okay, we don't have a lot of what we used to call ladder climbers. Okay, we have less of those people, and we have a lot of slashers, we have a lot of late bloomers. So what I mean by this is that if they're not being able and frustrated, they're not finding their career path today, it's because careers are not linear anymore. So be patient, prepare yourself, unlock opportunities, and be consistent and disciplined, because finding a job is a full-time job. So this is what I want to tell them at the end. So don't worry if things don't work for you from the first trial, second trial, or third trial. Okay, be confident. Be confident that whenever you prepare and whenever you connect and you network, you will find your way. Believe me that we can see on the market more and more of people finding what they want to do at 30 or 35 or even 40. Thing which was very weird back when I was in my 20s, for example, because in your 20s you used you had to find your way and to climb the ladder, like I said. But today it's not the case anymore. So there is less pressure. And you have today, as student, much more opportunities, at least to discover things, at least to search. You have a lot of tools and to connect with people, which wasn't the case when I was looking for a job 20 years ago.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zouhair. This has been such a valuable conversation, and I know our community is going to take so much from it. Thank you for your time, for your honesty, and for everything you do for students every single day. We really appreciate the support that you gave us and the time that you've spent with this conversation. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed it.
Of course. Thank you.